Hey, what's going on, Central Ohio? Welcome to my new monthly Central Ohio housing update. Sorry, that was hard for me to say for some reason. Let me bring on the Instagram folks. It's a separate process here. All right, so we're up on Instagram too. Hey, so welcome. If this is your first time joining me, I often do every week. I actually do live updates on national and local Redfin housing market data. But I only usually spend, 5 minutes or so actually reviewing Columbus and Central Ohio, where I work and live as a real estate investor and realtor. And I've had a lot of requests over the past few weeks about doing a more deep dive analysis on the Central Ohio housing market. So that's what I'm doing today. This is live. If you have any questions, if you have an area of Central Ohio, even Ohio itself, that you want me to analyze, let me know. And you can put in the comments below while you're watching right now, or if you happen to be watching on a replay, um, by all means, comment if you have a specific area of Ohio you want me to analyze. Now, some things that uh, are different than my normal lives is that moving forward, I'm going to use this opportunity for the Ohio breakdown to highlight Columbus Board of Realtor data. And because I have access to the MLS here in Columbus, I can get really granular with info. However, on this particular live today, I won't be doing that. I'm using a broader picture. I didn't have time to put the data together yet, but I will moving forward in the coming months. I may even do this every 2 weeks. It just depends on what y'all want. So we're going to look and use mainly realtor.com data, raw data, and Zillow value data that I pulled from Resi Club Analytics and put into a customized spreadsheet, Google sheet that I'll sort. And I'm also looking at maps from Resi Club today. So not using Redfin data, but we are going to get granular in Ohio, particularly in Central Ohio. I have a lot of data for Central Ohio, but because Ohio is broken down, between 88 counties, there's a lot of data that you can gather almost locally in almost like a metro area, but it's county level data because it's because we have so many counties. It's nice in Ohio for that reason. So let's do this first. I'm going to go to this page and bear with me. All right. So this page represents the active listings in Ohio, in Central Ohio, sorry. And this is for the Columbus metro area. So this is Columbus. So it's Franklin County. It encompasses Knox County, Licking County, Fairfield County, I believe Union County as well. There's some areas I'm missing there too. I'm trying to think if there's any other counties. I think that's a little bit of Muskingum County. There's some outline areas of Columbus where it covers as well. But when I say Central Ohio, when I look at real estate data, it's really where the MLS covers, and that's Columbus, Franklin County and the surrounding counties. So I brought this up because this to me is like real. I mean, this is massive when you look at this overall picture. I want you to keep this in mind as we go through the data today. But this shows a chart. This is a chart I pulled using raw data from realtor.com. I'm sorry. I use Columbus Board of Realtor data on this. My fault. I'm still getting used to this live. But this chart shows you where active inventory has been since 2000. It also shows you where active inventory is right now. And so this is active homes for sale. And something that you should watch for immediately is that we actually hit a peak of active listings, active homes for sale in July. I'm sorry, it was August of 2007. We had 22,000 active units for sale, 22,000, which is a lot, right? I mean, if you can look at this chart, you can see that's obviously a peak. What's interesting is that when you go forward and look at how we fared over the last, 10, 15 years, it's gone down. I mean, there's no doubt it's gone down. And I'm starting with active inventory, by the way, because active inventory, new listings, days on market, that really drives the, supply side of the market. And though we really can't forecast demand that much, if we look at active, new, and days on market, we can kind of get a glimpse as to what's going to happen with housing supply. And that will drive pricing, because if you have more houses on the market and this, given everything staying the same with demand, then prices are going to go down. If you have less homes on the market, prices are usually going to go up. So it's a good gauge for us to say, hey, where is active inventory going? And by the way, it kind of also will show you demand, because if active inventory continues to rise and rise and rise, something's going on with demand. Demand's not keeping up with the active listings and obviously new listings hitting the market. So anyway, this is, to me, startling that you see active listings at 22,000 back in 2007. And now we're right at 4,000 active listings right now. So it's not just the pandemic. I mean, the pandemic didn't help. You could see maybe the low was February of 2021 at 2,000 active listings. So like during the pandemic, a lot of the United States saw a huge decrease in active inventory and new listings and days on market. And conversely, prices shot through the roof. Well, here in Central Ohio, we've been losing active inventory for years. For over a decade, we've been losing active inventory. So it's not just COVID. It's not just the pandemic. It's not just the low interest rates. It's been going down for a long time. And anyway, I thought this was really telling. I was surprised when I pulled this data to look at it. And this is from the Columbus Board of Realtors again. So pretty up-to-date information. Anyway, I pulled this data. Now let's switch gears for a second. And we're going to use a map and look at a map of Ohio. And actually, this is a map of the US, but I zoomed into Ohio. Let me just change this picture real quick. Okay. So again, this is from Resi Club Analytics, and this is a county map. So for the rest of this live, what we're going to focus on is active inventory by county, new listings by county, days on market by county, and then we're going to look at prices. We're going to look at a price map. So we're going to look at it from a map visual standpoint on prices, where they've gone over the last year, up or down by county. And then we're also going to look at a price chart that shows us more of a granular look that you sometimes can't see inside the map. So anyway, lots of info to get going on. Let's get started. So literally, I just want to click around the Ohio map and find out what's happening with active inventory. Now, this is the change in 1 year of active inventory, but it'll also show us what's happened over the past few years with active inventory. So I'm going to start with Franklin County, which is Columbus. So you can see Franklin County, we're up in 1 year active inventory, 47%. Sounds like a lot, right? So we're actually up 47% in the number of homes available to purchase right now compared to this time last year. But remember the previous chart I showed you. Remember this chart here. So this chart shows us where we went over the last decade. And so when you see a 47% increase in active inventory, you may think that's a lot. And I guess it is, depending on who you are, but it's not close. It's not even sniffing adding enough inventory to make a difference compared to historical averages that we're at. It's just not. So I'll go back to this map and we'll be able to look at some more detail here. So let's go back to Franklin County. So Franklin County, you can see 1 year shift, 47%. And then it actually shows you where inventory was over the past several years. And Inventory in July of 2019. Look at that, 2,000 units. Then it went down to 1,300. Then it went down. This is just unreal. These numbers don't make any sense. I mean, you look at July of 2021 or July of 2020. Heck, look at July of 2023, 1,205 listings. I mean, that's nothing. There's like no inventory at that point, right? So this time last year was horrible, horrible inventory. Remember, this is Realtor.com data. The way they pull it's going to vary slightly from the Columbus Board of Realtors. And by the way, Columbus Board of Realtors, not to get too granular, but they classify active inventory even if a house is in contract. If a house is contingent, they classify that as active. And some realtors don't know that in Columbus. You pull the data. It's odd why they do it. I've asked them several times. They really won't tell me. I can't get a straight answer from them. But their numbers appear a lot more robust when they do their monthly broad, some would say useless reporting. It shows a lot more active inventory because they're not classifying it the way most people do. But Realtor.com data actually shows you what is really active, not contingent, not in contract, but what is really active. So you can see, we're at 1,700 on the bottom right there, 1,700 units right now active. In this time last year, 1,200 units active. So a 47% increase year over year is nothing. It's nothing. We need like a 4,000% increase to make any headway. That's the way it is. All right, let's look at Licking County. This is where I live. Strange name, right? Look at this. We're up 69% year over year. We actually have more inventory. According to Realtor.com data, we have more inventory right now than we did pre-pandemic. That's unique. Most areas of the United States don't have that. And trust me, we need a lot of inventory. We do. So we need a lot more here in Licking County, mainly because of Intel, and people are realizing that why live in Columbus when you can live in Licking County and have a better pace of life and lower cost of living, at least for now. But so Licking County up 69% in inventory year over year. That's a good jump, but you can see still not near enough to what we really need, right? I mean, 422 units, that's nothing. That's nothing. All right, let's go to some areas that maybe are down, maybe. Let's do this. Carroll County, Ohio, down 9.1%. So the Carroll County is not up in inventory, it's down by 9%. Less houses, a lot less than 2019. Look at 2019, we had 97 houses for sale. Not a whole lot, right? But now there's only 40. Let's look at this one. Jefferson County, Ohio, that's down 7.6%. Let's look at, somebody asked about Delaware County on my last live. So 1 year shift, 57% increase in active inventory. 57% increase. And they actually have more. I keep wanting to move my mouse. They actually have more than pre-pandemic. I mean, look at pre-pandemic. They were at, well, I guess 2020, July is right when the pandemic kicked off, 395. Now they're at 432. So they still have more than pre-pandemic. Again, that surprises me. When I saw that, I was like, oh, we actually have more inventory in those counties, Licking and Delaware, than we did pre-pandemic, according to Realtor.com. That's good. We need more inventory. Logan County, Ohio, 18% increase in inventory year over year. Let's do Fairfield County, Ohio, which is where Lancaster is. That's up 72% year over year in active inventory. Sorry, I keep moving my mouse, folks. Wow. So basically back to pre-pandemic, right? Or close. 312 listings compared to 320 back in 2019 before the pandemic. Not quite, but close to pre-pandemic. Some areas are down though. Look at Defiance, Ohio. Know anybody in the county of Defiance? Inventory, 1 year shift down 15% year over year. They've actually lost inventory year over year. I mean, look at back in July of 2019, they had 80 listings. Now they got 28. Man, there's just nothing there for sale. Richland County, let's do Richland County. Richland County is basically Mansfield, up 37% in active inventory year over year. Still down compared to 2019 by a good clip, right? 186 listings compared to 238 listings. This one really shocked me. And I have a listing right now in Mount Vernon. I own properties in Mount Vernon. It's a great city, but Mount Vernon is in Knox County, and that's a 1 year shift of 92%. 92%. What's crazy is it's still below pre-pandemic levels. Look at 2019, 207 listings. Now 150 listings. So even though we've gone from 78 listings last year in Knox County to 150 listings this year, still down considerably compared to July of 2019. So it's a strange inventory situation. You're going to see, and you probably are hearing a lot of talk. I don't look at the Columbus Board of Realtor updates at all. I quite frankly think they're useless, but they're probably, if I had to guess, saying that inventory is up a lot. There's a lot more houses to choose from. Well, that's true compared to last year, but historically, we're still, in the toilet with active inventory. So anyway, I thought this map was very helpful. At least it was for me to take a look at and understand, what's happening with inventory and the big picture of inventory versus a fire alarm of inventory skyrocketing. We're all doomed. Huh. All right, now let me go to, I'm going to go to the active chart. All right. So this chart is pretty much what we looked at just now, except this is in data form rather than just rather than map form, right? So we can actually see the percentages rather than just the numbers. I think this may help us a little bit too. So this is these are all the counties in Ohio, and they're ranked by size. So, and this is a national size. So in the United States, Franklin County is the 32nd largest county. I don't know if you knew that, but now you do. Franklin County is the 32nd largest county in the nation. Cuyahoga, Ohio, which is Cleveland, is the 35th. Hamilton, which is Cincinnati, is 74th. And then it goes on from there. So what I like to do here is just kind of compare and contrast how we're doing compared to national averages and, city or county by county in Ohio. So this first column is the 5-year change, meaning where inventory has gone up or down in a percentage wise compared to 5 years ago. Then the next column is a 1-year change. And then the last column is a month over month change. So this actually goes from June to July of this year. The 1-year change is July to July. And then the 5-year change is 2019 to 2024. By the way, this data is accessible to anybody. You have to pay for a subscription to Resi Club Analytics. And there's a link in my description. But the guy that runs it's actually out of Cincinnati. And he provides amazing data analysis. I think his subscription is like $100 a year, but it's the best value in the internet. I mean, because his data is fantastic. So when you look at the largest counties in Ohio from an active listing standpoint, we're actually down in Franklin County 14% when you look from July 2019 to July of 2024. We're actually down 14%. Pretty surprising, right? And then when you look at July 23 to July of 24, 1-year shift, we're up 47%. So again, you can see up a lot year over year, but down over the last 5 years. And month over month, up 21%. In 1 month, we grew active inventory 21%. That's good. Need more active inventory. So if I scroll down here, I can see somebody asked about Delaware. Again, here's Delaware County. It's actually one of the wealthiest counties in Ohio. It's down 40% in the last 5 years, up 57% in 1 year, and in a 1 month change, up 45%. So big swings with active inventory in Delaware. And to give you an idea, nationally, should have said this at the beginning, but nationally, we're down 28% since the pandemic. The 1 year change nationally is 36% up in more inventory. And the 1 month change is up 5% in active inventory. So that gives you an idea, right? If you're Franklin County, you're up 21% in active inventory month over month. That's 4 times the amount that we are nationally. We have more than a 1 year change in compared to nationally as well, 47%, and then down 14% on a 5 year change compared to 28%. So Franklin County actually looks like a higher rate of growth of active inventory than national does when you look at a national basis. Kind of ahead of the curve. This is what surprised me. Licking County. I mean, if you look at the 5 year change, in fact, if I go here and just sort for the 5 year change, it's going to tell me what counties. Oh, shoot. That unsorted it. I don't want to do that. The brown highlighted cells are negative. The green are positive. So look at this. Licking County. And if I scroll down here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's 6 counties of 88 in Ohio where we have more inventory now than we did pre-pandemic. And guess what? Licking County is one of them. This shocked me. So we actually have 8.76% more inventory in Licking County now than we did pre-pandemic. That's really an anomaly. When you look across the board at other counties, and they have a lot less than they did in pre-pandemic. And look at the 1 year change again in Licking County, home of where the new Intel plant's going to be. By the way, it's not Franklin County. People think that. They think, oh, Intel, they're building in Columbus. Nope, they're not. They're building in Licking County. So it's like 10 minutes from me. 69% increase in Licking County, 1 year change. 69% increase in inventory. 1 month change, 43%. I mean, I'm a realtor here and I didn't realize that until I looked at this data. That's why if you're a realtor in Central Ohio or anywhere, data like this is really important for you and your clients. I mean, there's a lot of realtors that just copy what the Columbus Board of Realtors put out. And they're like, here's my update. That's weak. Like, that's just data you can find anywhere. Give your clients something that they can actually use and tells them something, right? Look at Fairfield County, Ohio, where Lancaster is. Down 2.5%, almost at pre-pandemic levels. Explosion year over year of 72% in active listings and 52% month over month. Surprising. Let me just see if there's another one on here that's interesting. Yeah. So Knox County, Ohio, which is ranked 844 in the nation of largest counties. Down 27% pre-pandemic, but look at this. 1 year change, 92%. 1 month change, 70%. A ton of houses have hit the market there compared to last year. I say a ton more, but we still don't have enough. We're still down compared to pre-pandemic, but increased 92% year over year and 70% month over month. That's big. It'll be really interesting to see if that trend continues. I know I listed a house for a client in Mount Vernon and just recently, and there's a lot of houses there, I think, that are priced in that above median range, right? Not a lot of houses under the median for the area, but over the median, there's quite a bit of inventory. I think that's where you're seeing everything explode. Let's look and see Yeah, Jefferson County, Ohio has less inventory pre-pandemic, less inventory year over year, less inventory month over month. Just looking to see if there's anybody else like that. There's a few. Ottawa County, Preble County, Ohio. They're both down month over month in active inventory. Defiance, Ohio, down year over year in active inventory. Here's one that also surprised me was Perry County, Ohio, which I think is like set to really take off from a price standpoint, from a attention standpoint. I think Licking County is getting played out, and Franklin County has been played out for a long time. So I think Perry County may be next. I know Knox County is even getting saturated with wholesalers and investors and whatnot. But Perry County, which encompasses it's south of Licking County, basically, and it's Buckeye Lake is in 3 counties, but one of the areas that Buckeye Lake is in Perry County. It's up 12% since before the pandemic in active inventory. It's up 118% year over year, and it's up 53% month over month in active inventory. So inventory there has definitely increased, no doubt. And would it shock you to know that Perry County is actually the county in Ohio that's grown the most in median home price over the last 20 years? Yep. Perry County leads Ohio in price gains over the last 20 years. I'm really curious now. Look at Hocking, Ohio, which I'm guessing is Hocking Hills. It's only a guess, but I assume it is. I mean, 106% increase in 5 years of active inventory in Hocking Hills. 1 year change, 148%. 1 month change, 37%. Wow. I can only assume it's a bunch of people that this is an assumption only, that people purchased Airbnbs. A lot of people thought, I think during the pandemic, or maybe they still do, that they wanted to buy a cabin and like Airbnb it, thinking they were going to like get rich. And I think there's probably inventory there that people got, slaughtered on when rates went up and people realized that, it's not as easy as they thought it was to run an Airbnb. So maybe that's inventory sitting there, a bunch of log cabins. I don't know. Hocking Hills is a great area. It's an awesome area, but really beautiful. But you got to watch that Airbnb stuff. You can get hammered if you're not in the right market. Anyway, that's our look at active inventory. All right, now we're going to go to new listings now. I told you I had a lot of data. All right, so new listings. So when a property obviously is listed brand new on the market, it's a new listing. So they look at this time period right now for the month and say, how many new listings did we have? And that's how they're gauging this data, just like they did on active listings. And this is a gauge you want to look at, because if new listings continue to accelerate the rate at which they're being added to the marketplace, and demand doesn't pick up, you're going to see active listings rise, obviously, right? And could obviously at that point, you'd think prices would soften or start to come down somewhat. So 5-year change nationally in new listings, you can see it right here, 24.49%. So we're down 24% in 5 years in the number of new listings. 1 year change, we're up a whopping 3.6%. That's it. And this is national. Up 3.6%. 1 month change, we're down almost 8% nationally. So nationally, we're actually losing more new listings. By the way, I never get a chance to rant about this, but I hear a lot of people talk about foreclosures, right? And delinquencies and how we're going to see a wave of foreclosures hit the market, but they never pay attention to new listings. They don't look at the new listing momentum, I'll call it. Because if we had a wave of foreclosures hitting the market, you would see new listings explode. You'd see new listings absolutely take off because there'd be a bunch of foreclosures hitting the market and people wouldn't be able to sell their houses, right? Normally. So then they have to go into foreclosure. So like you would see a huge change in new listings and active listings, much more so than we are now, if there was a wave of foreclosures. So for some reason, the people that love to talk about foreclosures and how a wave is coming, they never look at new listings. If they do, they just brush past it. But we were down. Let this sink in. Down in new listings month over month, and year over year, we're only up 3.6%. So that wave is more like a ripple right now. We could have an explosion in foreclosures, but you're going to see it in new listings, and certainly active listings, because people are going to put their houses on the market, try to sell them to make money on them, or at least break even, not be able to do it, have to sell them for less, either go through a short sale or they just stop paying completely and they go through a foreclosure. And then you'll obviously see that on the market, right? A lot of de-stressed inventory. We're not seeing that. All right. So let's dive into the counties on new listings. Franklin County, down 14% since pre-pandemic, up 16% year over year, only up 3.42% month over month. And that gives you a picture of, again, we are up with new listings, but when you're only going up 3.42% in new listings, but active listings, right? If we go back, let's look at, we'll do this again. Let's look at Franklin County. Look at active listings. 21% increase in active listings. New listings up 3.42%. So to me, it means that there's a lot of stale inventory, right? There's inventory people don't want. Maybe it's overpriced. Maybe it's fake pricing, wish pricing. If you're a realtor, you know what I'm talking about with wish pricing. Somebody puts a house on the market hoping they'll sell it at that price. They probably know, and the realtor knows, not going to sell at that price. And then it's on the market for, 3 months, 6 months, and then it's yanked off the market and they try again later or something. But this new listing data, I think, tells us a story of where we're going to be headed with active listings. So pretty much, if you look at this column here, column O, the 5-year change, there aren't many counties. There's a handful that are up for 5 years in new listings, but not all of them by any means like it was with active. All right, the 1-year change, though, let's look at that. Up 16% for Franklin County, almost 17% in new listings. Just need more, right? Cleveland is down 25% from the last 5 years, up 5% year over year. But look at this, down 6.5% in Cleveland in new listings, month over month from June to July of this year, down 6.5%. I mean, it's just not sustainable for active inventory if you are down to that level. Cincinnati, down 23% since before the pandemic, up a whopping 8% year over year, down 13% month over month. And people just aren't listing their homes in Cincinnati. And look at some of these other counties, though. I mean, I'm struggling to find a county. I want to find one where they've gone up a lot year over year. Clermont, I think that's how you say it. Clermont County, Ohio. I don't even know where that is. 40% increase year over year. If anybody has any questions or comments, I'll check those right after I'm done with new listings before we get into days on market. Licking County, up 9% year over year, down 23% since before the pandemic, up 11% month over month. There's definitely inventory building in Licking County. But again, I wonder what kind of inventory it is. Is it affordable inventory? Is it like move-in ready inventory? Or is it like $1 million homes? I mean, where I live, the little community I live in has, I don't know, 7, I'm going to guess 7, 10. I live in a really small town, but 7 to 10 houses priced close to $1 million, and they are just rotting. They are not moving. They're not moving. They're just not. A couple of them are flips. You got to wonder what that profit line looks like, right? I flipped the house and kept it on the market for a year and a half. Oops. I mean, if you're flipping a $200,000 house or $150,000 house for a year and a half, that's one thing. But if it's $1 million house and you put in $500,000 in renovation cost or $400,000 in renovation cost, good grief. Talk about locking up your money. But yeah, Licking County is definitely adding listings. Fairfield, look at this. That stands out. Look at Fairfield County, which is Lancaster, up 1% since before the pandemic. So they have more new listings. 1 year change, 54%. 1 month change, 36%. They have a lot of new listings in Lancaster. But that's interesting. I should send some buyers there that are looking for houses, some affordable inventory. Maybe there is affordable inventory there. Look at Mansfield, Richland County, Ohio, flat from before the pandemic, and new listings up 25% year over year, up 5% month over month. Tuscarawas. Did I say that right? I don't know if I did. I tried my best. But it's down 13%, down or 14%, you want to round, since the pandemic. Look at that. 1 year change, down 19% in new listings, down 2.63% in a month over month. So Tuscarawas is I probably butchered that name horribly, but oh well. It's there's like no, I'm curious like what it looks like from active inventory. Let's go down here and find out. Where are you? You gotta be here somewhere. There you are. So this, I flipped over to active inventory. Let me just look. Yeah, you're only up, still down 31% before the pandemic, 9% up in 1 year, 1 month change, 9%. Doesn't surprise me when your new listings are in the toilet. Muskingum County, Ohio. I should have mentioned this earlier. Zanesville. I own some property in Zanesville. It's a nice little community. Down 6% since before the pandemic, up 7% year over year in new listings, and up 12% month over month. How do they look for active inventory? 35% down since before the pandemic, but up 31% since last year, up 25% month over month. So more inventory there in Muskingum County or Zanesville. Let's look at Perry County. Wow. New listings, 69% 5-year change. 69% more new listings in Perry County. And I'm wondering, I'm sorry, I didn't finish my statement. 69% more new listings in Perry County versus before the pandemic, 10% 1 year change, and a 37% 1 month change. I'm wondering if that is, and I haven't even looked at this. I've looked at expensive houses at Buckeye Lake, but I haven't looked at inexpensive houses. I wonder if there's a bunch of Airbnb stuff that's not moving. I wonder if there's people that thought they could get rich with Airbnb on Buckeye Lake and for a $200,000 cottage. And then I've heard this happening lately is the short-term rentals are banned in certain townships around the lake, right? So like you buy a place, you don't do your due diligence, then all of a sudden you figure out, oh, I can't Airbnb this thing. And it won't work because there's long-term rental, so I got to sell it. I talked to a lady just recently that ran into that. I'm wondering if that's what's going on in Perry County. Because there's a lot of new listings and there's a lot more inventory. That's interesting. All right. So that's new listings. All right, let me look and see if there's any questions. Oh, I assume you mean the active inventory chart. Yeah, it does tell a story. Thanks, Steve. Yeah, it tells a big story. It's like we have zero inventory compared to 10 years ago. We're not even like to the levels Steve's talking about this chart here. Like we're not even at levels back in 2000. You know, forget last year. Just look at 2000. We had 6,500 listings active, according to the Columbus Board of Realtors, and now we've got 4,300. So we have a lot of we have a big hole to dig ourselves out of. We definitely do. A lot of communities across the country are in this mess. Thanks for the comment. Oh, got a comment here. Why? Increase in property taxes, insurance driving the folks out of their homes. Yeah. And there's definitely truth to that, Bill. Thanks for the comment. I mean, property taxes have gone up like an insane amount, right? And it's hard to put your finger on just what kind of effect that has. But one of the awesome things about real estate is that if you can buy property with fixed rate debt that cash flows, theoretically, your costs don't go up, except, maintenance goes up, utilities go up. But now that theory is struggling a little bit because of what Bill's saying, property taxes and insurance. It drives people out of their home. Somebody who well, I'll give you an example. My father, I just had a conversation with him yesterday about property taxes and looking at where the market's gone with property taxes. And it's just not, it's horrible. It's like an increase of payments, have increased substantially just because of property taxes. And that's kind of a variable, you can't control at all, really. You can protest them, but that's about it. But these values have increased so much across the country that now homeowners who were happy about their values increasing are now like, oh no, now my property tax bill is due, and it's a lot more. I mean, I can tell you as an investor, I own several properties, and the property taxes have gone insane, especially in small communities like Newark, Mount Vernon. I've heard, and I know for a fact, Columbus, there's a lot of investors getting hammered with property taxes in Columbus. So good point. Good point, Bill. You are right. All right. Let me go to Instagram, see if we have any comments on Instagram. No, nobody commented. Nobody commented on Instagram. That's okay. I'm cool with that. All right, let's keep going. So back to, we did new listings. Now let's do days on market real quick. And then I'll jump to prices, which is what a lot of people want to know anyway, right? Prices. And by the way, if you happen to be watching this on Instagram or Facebook for some reason, you should really watch it on YouTube. I mean, it's just easier to it's easier to interact, and I think the experience is better too. Let me move this, my little screen here. I'll move it right there. All right. All right, so this is days on market, meaning how long a property sits on the market. And again, that's going to give you a perspective of where prices could be headed. Because if days on market explodes upwards significantly, chances are prices are going to soften because properties are sitting longer. As long as they're properties people want. That's the key, right? All right, so nationally, we're down 12% in the last 5 years with days on market. A 1 year change of 11% increase nationally in days on market. So it's taking 11% longer in theory to sell a house versus this time last year. 1 month change, 11.11%. I checked the data, and that's actually correct. I thought it was a typo because it was the same percentage. but it's not. It was correct. So we're up slightly days on market, both nationally and both yearly and month over month on a national level. Now let's look at Ohio County level. So again, starting with Franklin County, down 12% compared to 5 years ago, up 26% compared to a year ago, and up 26% compared to a month ago. So it's taking 26% longer to sell a home right now in Columbus, Ohio, than it did this time last year. And it's taking 26% longer in July versus June of this year to sell a house. So that days on market number for Franklin County, it looks like it's continuing to increase. As much, I live close to Columbus, but I got to tell you, I don't spend a ton of time analyzing Columbus and Franklin County. But what I have seen is there's a lot of homes in areas that were purchased up by investors, or people maybe wanting to flip a house or something. And now a lot of those houses haven't been finished and they're kind of sitting. I'm seeing that. I'm also seeing a lot of overpriced houses. Or expensive homes, homes priced at 700, 800, 900 grand. The median price in the area is about 300 to 350, depending on what metric you look at. So $1 million home is significantly more expensive. Anyway, the point is that all drives days on market up, but homes are sitting longer. I just flipped a house this year. I just put it on the market 2 weeks ago. It took a week to get a showings and an offer, which I thought took a long time. I was surprised. I thought it would go like in days. It was a move-in ready house, had some land, and was priced well under the median. But it took a little bit more time than normal. When I say normal, it took a little more time than it has the last 3 years to get it into contract. But normal, it's probably still ahead of the curve. Cuyahoga County, Cleveland, 38% 5-year change, 17% 1-year change. Down, less time to sell a house, and now it's 6.5% longer to sell a house month over month. So in Cleveland, houses are still flying off the shelf, down 17% compared to last year. It's just nuts. Hamilton, flat versus last year, down 34% from the last 5 years, up 15% month over month. Is there any place where it's taking less time overall? Lorain County, Ohio, which I think is up north near Cleveland, that's down 44% in days on market since 2019, down 27% year over year, down 9% month over month. Houses there must be just people not listing a lot of them, or the demand there is high. Delaware, somebody asked about Delaware again. I'll hit that. Down 20% before the pandemic, up 44% year over year, and up 24% month over month. So it obviously homes in Delaware are taking longer to sell. They just are. Still selling quickly, but nothing like it was before the pandemic. All right, Licking County. Look at that. 27% longer to sell a house versus pre-pandemic. 34% 1-year change. And 34% 1 month change. So Licking County is taking a lot longer to sell a home. Surprising. Look at Fairfield County. 18%, 62%. Wow. 56% 1 month change. So again, just like Licking County, it's taking a lot longer to sell a home. Pre-pandemic, 1 year and 1 month. Let me go down to Perry County. Yeah, look at that. Look at days on market in Perry County. That's where I flipped the home, by the way, was Perry County. Down 13% since before the pandemic, up 53% in a 1 year look, and up 64% in a 1 month look. So days on market has exploded there. Now, I have also listed an expensive home in Perry County for a client. Very expensive home. A beautiful home, an amazing property, but priced well over the median, obviously, and a very small group of buyers that would be qualified to purchase it. But I'm wondering also, maybe some luxury homes on the market in the on the lake are sitting a little bit. And I think also in Perry County, some of these other rural areas, you've got farmland or houses with 10 acres or 20 acres. Not everybody wants to buy that. That's almost like it's a very selective group of buyers that are like, hey, I want 10 acres to take care of. Or a lot of people are like, man, that's way too much. So those homes probably sit longer too. Let me look at Knox. Yeah, 8% increase year over year. Not as bad, 12% increase month over month. So it hasn't exploded in days on market, but it is taking longer to sell in Knox County or Mount Vernon. Athens, we mentioned Athens earlier, but that's the home of Ohio University, not the Ohio State University. It's Ohio University. But that's down 15% since the pandemic, up 4% in 1 year and up 26% month over month. All right, that's inventory. So I'm curious what you think about the inventory situation in Ohio, Central Ohio, maybe even where you live in Ohio. But I'd love to know what's happening in your local neck of the woods. Are houses sitting longer? Are you seeing stuff on the street that's listed and then you're like, man, I can't believe that hasn't sold yet? I'd love to know if that's going on. All right. Now, price time. Everybody wants to know about prices. Okay, so this is a map similar to the inventory map, but this is for prices, the price change since this time last year. So this is a year-over-year price change map. Again, this is from Resi Club Analytics. And we'll start with Franklin. 5.9% year-over-year increase in prices. Now this is also uses Zillow. This chart uses, this map uses Zillow data. The inventory was pulled from Realtor.com data, but the price data is from Zillow. And it's saying Franklin County home values are up 5.9% year over year. Let's look at Licking County. Oops, let me change this. Bear with me. Right there. All right. Let's look at Licking County, up 6.2% in prices. So the explosion of inventory that we've seen in Licking County, along with the huge increase in new listings, so far hasn't affected prices. 6% is like the average, the 20-year average. If you look across nationally, that's the 20-year average for home price appreciation per year. So 6% is like normal. So it hasn't gone down. That's what people want, but it hasn't gone down. Fairfield County up 6%. Pickaway County up 6.3%. Somebody want to know about Delaware. Up 3.6%. So it's a little under, historical averages. Delaware County is as far as price increases or value increases, however you want to say it. It's Cleveland, right? Cleveland, look at this. Cleveland is like, I don't know much about the Cleveland market. I don't own anything up there. I've never really looked at much real estate in Cleveland. A few deals, not many, but it's up 8.8% in prices, in home values, up 8.8%. Lorain County up 6.2% right next door. Erie County up 8%. Look at some of these other darker ones and see where they're at. Look at Muskingum County, Zanesville, up 10% in home values. Maybe because it's so affordable and it's kind of close to Columbus. That could be, right? People were like, man, I could buy a house there for a couple $100,000 that I have to spend $400 on in Columbus. So maybe that's why. Perry County up 10%. Hocking County. Remember, Hocking County had an explosion of new listings and inventory, but it's still up almost 10% in prices. Let's look at Hamilton County. That's down here, right? Right? Am I looking? Oh, there it is. 6.7% in Cincinnati, the nasty natty, in home values, up 6.7%. Who's the biggest? We can look at that in a second when we look at the chart, but is it Muskingum? Just looking. Oh, Van Wert. Something's happening with Van Wert too. Like the inventory there was is low, and they've had a great year in home appreciation. Maybe it's farms or something. I don't know. It's but the home prices there seem to just keep going up and up and up. Just clicking around. Richland County, which is Mansfield, up 10% in prices. All right. So there's one county where home values actually dropped year over year. Wayne County, Ohio, down 15%. Now, I doubt they have a lot of sales. So suffice to say, that's probably, one or two home sales will probably affect the whole county's data, but they are down 15%. Okay, so that's a map look. Now we're going to look at prices. This is a this is like the same concept as the inventory data. So you've got the counties here on the left. You've got the ranking of the county. We already know that. We've got the the prices go back 20 years on this data versus just 5. So you've got a 20-year look, you've got a 10-year look, 5-year look, 1-year look, and I don't have a month over month, but what I do have is a shift since the 2022 peak. Most housing markets across the US peaked in 2022 at some point. So what Lance did, who curates this data from Zillow, he puts in how much they're up, the particular county is up since the peak in 2022. But that's assuming it peaked in 2022. I know that's confusing, but we can ignore that if you want to for right now. But let's look at the biggest counties. Franklin County, 20-year shift in home prices up 118%, 10-year shift up 127%, 5-year shift up 56%, and a 1-year shift 6.7%. So you can see from, and this data again is just like what we looked at with the map. Now it's in chart form. So Franklin County, you can see it's done very well over the last 20 years, especially over the last 10 years. And over the last 5 years, it's absolutely insane, right? 56% increase in home values in the last 5 years. Cleveland, much more, I guess maybe normal over the last 20 years, but 10 years, it's up 102%. 5 years, it's up 48%. 1 year, up 8.9%. I'm going to hide this so it doesn't distract me. Okay, there we go. Cincinnati, 20-year shift, 87%, 10-year shift, 105%, 5-year shift, 53%. And they're up 7.5% year over year. You notice something here. I did. The 20-year look, a lot of times in these counties, is lower than the 10-year look. Why is that? Well, because between year 20 and 10, you had the great financial crisis, right? When home values plummeted in basically every area of the United States. So in 2007, 2008, 2009, you saw home values drop. And so a lot of these counties, you're going to see the 20-year mark, lower sometimes than the 10-year mark, because if you go back just 10 years, there's a larger increase versus 20 years. But you should really pay attention to the 5-year shift, which is really right before the pandemic, right? I mean, look at some of these values. They're all high. There's no other way to say it, right? Let's look at a couple people want to know about Delaware County again. Delaware County, 96% 20-year shift, 86% 10-year shift, 47% 5-year shift, and the 4.2% for the 1-year shift. So it's one of the more expensive counties in Ohio. It's still expensive. I don't know how else to say it. They are down compared to historical averages with year-over-year pricing at 4.2% increase in values, but it's still going up. Oh, by the way, I always forget this. National, we were up 114% nationally in 20 years, 10 years nationally up set 97%, 5 years up nationally 49%, and the 1-year shift 3.9. That should have said that at the beginning. 3.9% year-over-year increase in prices, and you've got Ohio increasing 6, 8, 7, 9, 6, 10, whatever. It's higher than the national average. Here, Licking County, where I am, 113% in 20 years, 108% in the last 5 years. I'm sorry, last 10 years, 60% in the last 5 years, and up 7% year over year. I'm looking for somebody who's like up, like an anomaly, or down. Oh, well, we already know Wayne County. Wow. Look at Muskingum County. 120% in 20 years, 108% 10 years, 54% 5 years, and 10% year over year. Some of these don't have values. That's why they have an error there. They weren't able to get the data for that county. Let's look at, I'd love to be able to search in this for a county, but to make it quicker, but Google Sheets is sometimes a pain. All right, let me look back at Hawking. I'm just curious. Wow. Yeah, so the other one I was clued in on was Knox County. So it doesn't have a 20-year look, but it's got a 10-year look at 157%, 57% for the 5 year, and 8.5% for the 1 year. That's just unreal, right? 57% increase in home values in 5 years. That's just not sustainable, right? You can't sustain that type of home value growth forever. Anyway, this gives you the picture. And again, if you want this data, I may even put it and make it available to folks in a different version. But Resi Club has it, and you go to them to get it. Man. Yeah, so home prices are obviously continuing to go up in Ohio. They're going up county by county. There's only one county that's down year over year. And there's most all of them are up at least, 40, 50% in the last 5 years. So just imagine what has to happen for home values to actually drop enough to make a dent in the last 5-year number. I mean, you'd have to have a cataclysmic collapse of home values, probably a skyrocketing amount of inventory, a huge national depression, right? For us to maybe Intel pulling out, like if Intel pulled out for some reason, I don't think they will, but if they did and said, we're out of here, we're not going to build our plant, that could crush values locally here in Licking County and Franklin County, certainly. There's no doubt. All right. So that's my look at the Ohio market. I hope you enjoyed it. It was a little all over the place, I admit. So next time I'll dial it in more, maybe have some better flow of the data, maybe overlay the data so I can put like new listings, days on market, and pricing on top of each other somehow. to kind of correlate it with each county. But I really need your feedback. So comment, let me know what you thought of it. Let me know what you'd like to see if I didn't put it together already. And thank you for watching. Have a great day in Ohio, and we'll see you again on my next video. Oh, I got a comment first. I'm going to shut it down. Doug Laser 74. Do you look at other states other than Ohio? Yes, Douglas, I do. It's probably Douglas, right? Douglas R74, Douglas Laser. Doug Laser, that's hilarious. I'm a goofball. Yeah, I do. So on Thursdays, normally Thursdays, I do a Redfin update that's national. So I look at a national perspective, and then I actually take requests for individual areas of and individual metros in the US. So if you have a city or a county that you want me to analyze wherever in the United States, I use Redfin data, and I do that live on Thursdays, usually Thursday morning, sometimes in the afternoon, but just be lookout for that live. And then it's recorded, obviously, and you can look at it anytime you want. But yeah, if you have an area, just comment on this video or the live on Thursday, and I can analyze it for you. But thank you for the question. Yeah, I definitely do. Because this Ohio live is like the first one I've done. This is kind of new. So usually I'm doing national ones with kind of a spotlight of Ohio. But this right now I'm doing all Ohio. So anyway, all right. Have a great day. Thank you for the comments. Thank you for the questions. We'll see you on the next video.